Let's go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Heartland Championship Wrestling. My name is Dave Little. We are here late in the evening of Saturday night, September the 13th, with a hype show. It is Heartland Havoc 130, One Last Ride, coming to you live from New Orleans. The University of New Orleans Lakefront Arena in Louisiana. Pay-per-view action brought to you by the superstars of Pro Wrestling Mid-America and the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. 2 World Championship matches here tonight. Just finished watching my beloved Ohio State Buckeyes have a surprisingly tough game against their neighbors down the road at Ohio University. But they pulled away in the end, and that was a good win for the Buckeyes. 2 World Championship matches tonight. Neil Lau, Derek Bauman joining us here in the chat room. Welcome to both of you. Our main event tonight will be another confrontation. This is the 4th go-round for Kevin Steen and Pat Patterson. Steen, now your reigning and defending NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Pat Patterson looking to reclaim the gold here tonight in New Orleans. Also a return match in our other main event as the NWA World Tag Team Championship will be on the line as the Midnight Express, led by James E. Cornette, take on the team of Whatever We Want, Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson. So it is a big night for Whatever We Want, as they are also scheduled in our opening match of the evening. And a match that has been the source of some intrigue, as the team of Whatever We Want has been challenged, but they don't even know which members of their faction are going to represent the team of Whatever We Want. And it is Ron Garvin and Dan Severn who have been on the warpath against Whatever We Want. We saw them in action earlier this month with Severn and Garvin taking on Ole Anderson and the surprise tag team partner Brock Anderson. As Terry Funk is injured, Stan Hansen himself is wrestling hurt, and they do not know where to turn. And Barry Windham has been at odds with Jimmy Hart. And now, as we get the show started, it is the members of Whatever We Want headed down to ringside, led by Jimmy Hart. And conspicuous by his absence is Barry Windham. Windham not happy about being the so-called errand boy for Whatever We Want. He thinks he is championship material, and he is very unhappy with his position in the faction. And he has been not wanting to get involved in the feuds of the faction, preferring instead to pursue championship gold. So he is not going to be involved in tonight's tag team match. But we do have members of Whatever We Want coming down to the ring for this match, as we have a special guest at ringside, Neil Lau, along with the current Velvet Women's Champion, Dust. Dust, what a wonderful wrestler out of Youngstown, Ohio. Only about 5 feet tall, but every inch of that 5 feet is covered in muscle. And a very capable competitor indeed. Congratulations to Dust for winning that championship, and welcome to you, our good friend, here in the Dave Cave. Ladies and gentlemen, our opening contest is a no disqualification grudge match scheduled for one fall to a finish. Introducing first, representing Whatever We Want, standing at 6 foot tall, weighing 249 pounds out of the great state of Minnesota. This is Arn Anderson. And his tag team partner hails from Charlotte, North Carolina. Also standing at 6 foot tall, weighing 212 pounds, this is Brock Anderson. So it's going to be Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson doing the dirty work for whatever we want here tonight in New Orleans. Again, conspicuous by his absence is Barry Windham. And their opponents are coming to the ring. First out of Atlanta, Georgia. He stands at 6'1", weighs 231 pounds. This is the man with the hands of stone, a.k.a. Rugged Ronnie Garvin. And his tag team partner hails from Coldwater, Michigan, standing at 6'2", weighing 251 pounds. This is the Beast, Dan Severn. Severn, of course, not at 100% here tonight. He still has some stitches in the back of his head, courtesy of the megaphone of one Jimmy Hart, after the last encounter between these two teams. But Severn is determined to get his piece of whatever we want here tonight in New Orleans. And Brock Anderson made his debut at the last showdown between these two teams a couple of weeks ago in Houston, and acquitted himself nicely both on the microphone and in the ring, did Brock Anderson. And his proud Papa Arn Anderson has got him loaded up and ready to go tonight under the watchful eyes of the manager, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. So here we go. We will get our grudge match dice in play, and we are ready for action. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to this late night broadcast, and it will be Ronnie Garvin starting things off against young Brock Anderson for their respective squads. And it is going to be Brock Anderson taking the opening initiative role with a standard collar and elbow tie-up. Little old-fashioned wrestling situation there. And Garvin takes him down and goes to work on the face of Brock Anderson with a face mangler. Much more what you would expect to see in a grudge match situation like this. And Garvin maintaining the offensive now with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Brock Anderson, and he eats a running back elbow by Ron Garvin that stuns Brock Anderson. Garvin stays on him and immediately rolls him over into a Boston Crab. Brock Anderson suffering the effects of that Boston Crab as Arn, his father, looks on. Brock making his way over to the ropes to force the hold to be broken. And now the Garvin stomp. That is nasty. Garvin just pounding away with the flat of the boots to every portion of the body of Brock Anderson. We've seen Randy Orton pick up that move later in his career, but Ron Garvin and the Garvin stomp is going to cost Brock Anderson a point of fatigue. Anderson slowly getting to his feet. Garvin stays on him, another whip to the ropes. And this time coming off the ropes, it is a running shoulder tackle by both men. And it is Garvin who takes control, and he is going to tag in Dan Severn to the match for the first time. Severn wants a piece of this action himself. And Severn comes out with a series of knees to the head. And Brock Anderson getting to his feet. And Brock Anderson with a whip into the turnbuckle and jamming his shoulder into the midsection of Dan Severn. The referee forces the break. They come together in the center of the ring, and this time it is Severn with a double leg pickup and slam. And down to the canvas again goes Brock Anderson. Brock is down, and Severn is in control, and Severn now is going to go for the choke sleeper. He's going to try and put his lights out right here. Anderson able to fight his way out of that, but Papa Arn starting to look concerned as Brock desperately needs to get out and make a tag. But it's going to be Brock instead trying to escape the ring. Severn not going to let that happen. And instead, Severn with another knee to the side of the head that stuns Brock Anderson. Brock still trying to get up to his hands and knees. And now here's Severn picking him up over and down to the canvas hard with a fireman's carry slam. Nicely executed by Dan Severn, the MMA master. Severn stays on his man and tries a elbow smash. Brock Anderson able to dodge out of the way of that one. Severn a step slow, wrestling hurt. And it is Brock Anderson now who's going to go for the gator roll. This is a choice F maneuver. Choice F. He'll need 9 or lower to complete that. and he got the gator roll over and down, and Severn is hurt, and Brock is able to finally tag in his father, Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson coming into the ring on the offensive with a measured knee drop right to the rib cage of Dan Severn. Severn's still down. Anderson's on him with another measured knee drop, and this time Severn is going to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor, and that is to the advantage of Arn Anderson as Anderson picks up Severn and just drops him stomach first across the steel security railing. Severn now is hurting, and Arn Anderson with a chance to take control here. And as action returns to the ring, it is Arn with a DDT. He caught him coming in. He goes for the cover. And on a roll of 10, Severn able to kick out. But as Severn was crawling back in through the ropes, Arn Anderson caught him and just dumped him headfirst with a DDT. And Severn took the brunt of that one. And Anderson stays on him now with a standing arm bar, trying to force a submission out of Severn. You're not going to get a skilled MMA fighter like Severn to submit that easily. But Anderson stays on the offensive now with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Dan Severn, but on a roll of 2, that is a sunset flip. As Severn tries to pin Anderson down to the mat, Anderson kicks out of that one. Severn reaches up and tags in Ron Garvin. Garvin now in control as Anderson is still a little out of sorts. And it is Garvin with a big punch to the side of the head, the hands of stone. Anderson goes down and barely kicks out on the count of 2. Wow, Ronnie Garvin got all of that right-hand punch. One of the most potent right-hand punches in wrestling. As Arn Anderson now is down and Garvin stays on him. And now here's the Garvin stomp on Arn Anderson. That is going to cost Arn a point of fatigue. Both men from the Anderson family have tasted the Garvin stomp here tonight, and the fans in New Orleans are loving it. Garvin stays on his man with a series of brutal chops. Anderson getting to his feet, trying to fight back, as Garvin now goes with the arm twister. The arm twister applied by Garvin. Anderson tries but cannot make the tag to his son, as Garvin now goes back to the face mangler and puts Anderson back down onto the mat. Ronnie Garvin taking control here on Arn Anderson, and now it is Anderson finally getting to his feet. Ronnie Garvin stays on him, tries to take him over with the head scissors, and finally Arn escapes and is the first to his feet. And as they come back together again, it is Arn with a stiff knee to the side of the head of Ronnie Garvin that stuns Ronnie Garvin. Anderson finally getting free and able to tag in his son Brock back into this match, as both men have taken punishment here. And here's Brock now going to the arm bar. Brock trying to hold that arm bar. Garvin slowly getting to his feet. And now it is Garvin attempting a takedown, and he got him down. Can Brock get over and make the tag after the takedown? He cannot. Garvin back in control, and Garvin with a big headbutt that stuns Brock Anderson. Brock still not able to make the tag as Garvin stays on him. And now it is Ron Garvin with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Brock Anderson. And on a roll of 3, it is Garvin charging into the turnbuckle, but Brock Anderson ducks out of the way. Garvin hits the ring post hard and rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And on the arena floor, it is Ronnie Garvin and Brock Anderson duking it out. And it is Garvin who's going to win that brawl on the arena floor and slam the head of Brock Anderson into the ring post. Hard times for Brock Anderson, tasting the steel. Back in the ring, it is Garvin with a big pile driver. Brock is still down. And now Severn's coming into the ring. We're going to see a double team by the challengers, and it's going to be an awesome double neck breaker that puts Brock Anderson back down to the canvas. Dan Severn now in control with a big German suplex that takes Anderson back down to the mat. Anderson slowly getting to his feet. Severn stays on him with a belly-to-belly throw, and Anderson is down yet again. Dan Severn looking to do more damage here. He's going to go for the armbar. He's going to try for the submission here on a roll of 5 or lower, and Brock is able to escape that. But now both men of the Anderson family at 3 points of fatigue, and now it is Brock trying to escape the ring. Dan Severn not going to let that happen. He wants to keep the fight in the ring, and it is Dan Severn with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Brock Anderson, and a big running back elbow by Dan Severn stuns Brock Anderson. Tagged back into Ronnie Garvin, the fresh man for the challengers. And it is Ronnie Garvin now rolling Brock Anderson over once again into the Boston Crab. And Anderson crawling desperately to get out to the bottom rope, and the Boston Crab continues. And now Brock Anderson is able to get to the bottom rope and out of the ring and down to the arena floor. On the arena floor, it is Garvin once again dominating the action with an Irish whip. Brock Anderson crashing into the ring barricade. Anderson is down. Ronnie Garvin is on him. They go back into the ring. They're going to stay out of the ring. And this time out of the ring, it is Garvin yet again dominating the action and just drop kicking Brock Anderson over the steel security railing and into the crowd. Wow. This is not a good start for the men of 3W who need this match. Ronnie Garvin dominating the action here. A big forearm slug to the side of the head of Brock Anderson. Brock still not able to get out and tag his father as Anderson keeps up the pressure and again goes back to the Boston Crab, punishing Brock Anderson with that Boston Crab. And now Ronnie Garvin is going to go up to the top rope and attempt a death jump. And on a roll of 6, Garvin comes off the top rope with a double axe handle blow that puts Brock back down onto the canvas yet again. Ronnie Garvin pounding away on Brock Anderson with forearms. Dan Severn coming in for some double team action, and it is a bone-crunching double clothesline delivered by Garvin and Severn. And Brock Anderson is still down and desperate. And now it is the choke sleeper applied by Dan Severn, and it's time for Jimmy Hart to take action here. On a roll of 9, Hart attempts to smash the opponent with the megaphone, but accidentally hits his own wrestler. So Brock Anderson caught in the choke sleeper and now bonked on the head by the megaphone of Jimmy Hart. Severn goes back to the choke sleeper. Will he choke him out here? Yes. No, he will not. Brock Anderson barely survives the choke sleeper after the after the bonk on the noggin. Brock in all kinds of trouble here as Severn is in control. And again, Brock Anderson unsuccessfully trying to get out of the ring, and Severn's going to attempt a gut wrench suplex. He's going to need a roll of 6 or lower to complete that, and he got him over and down to the canvas. And now it is Brock once again rolling out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And from the arena floor, it is Severn who is going to control the action there. Pounding away on Brock Anderson, pounding away, and backdropping Brock Anderson onto the announcer's table. Brock Anderson has taken a horrific beating here tonight. And finally now it's going to be Arn Anderson trying to come in and do what he can do. But on a roll of 8, it is Arn Anderson being put out of the ring by the referee. And that gives Dan Severn another free shot at Brock Anderson and a choke sleeper once again. And it is lights out for Brock Anderson. How about that? Dan Severn and Ron Garvin dominating Brock and Arn Anderson in a big way. And it is Brock Anderson after a horrific beating who takes the fall and takes the nap, courtesy of Dan Severn and the choke sleeper. Both men tasted the Garvin stomp. Brock Anderson was unable to make the tag out to his father. And Jimmy Hart tried the megaphone. Arn tried to get in there to save Brock. Brock was not to be saved tonight because once Dan Severn put that choke sleeper in place. It was good night to Brock Anderson. Thanks for coming. All right, so our first match is in the books. Neil Lau announcing he'll do a velvet card on Sunday. So, Neil, please tell us more about your card, who's going to be in the main event, what titles might be on the line. Always love to hear about all of the other great Filsinger Wrestling Game Federation events here in the Heartland. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another grudge match coming up, and another very emotional situation that is probably not what either of these men wanted, but with pride on the line, this is where we have come. The following contest is scheduled for one fall to a finish. It is a no disqualification grudge match. Introducing first out of Robbinsdale, Minnesota. He stands at 6'1". He weighs 290 pounds. This is Larry Hennig. And his opponent hails from Omaha, Nebraska, standing at 6'3", weighing 245 pounds. This is Ted DiBiase. So Ted DiBiase and Larry Hennig in action here. This match comes to us from the Atlantic Wrestling Federation and has been the subject of some drama. Ted DiBiase recently acquired the services of Curt Hennig to create the beginnings of a faction. Curt Hennig inquired to DiBiase about bringing his father, Larry Hennig, into the faction, and DiBiase refused. And not only did DiBiase refuse to sign Larry Hennig to his federation, he also made some disparaging remarks that Larry Hennig wasn't the caliber of wrestler that DiBiase was looking for. And that rubbed Curt the wrong way. And when Larry caught wind of that, Larry got on the microphone and issued the challenge. And here we are in New Orleans with this battle fixing to go down. Curt Hennig will be at ringside. He is not at all pleased that this is happening, but he is in a partnership with Ted DiBiase. And he respects DiBiase and thinks that they can do great things together. But at the same time, blood's thicker than water. And when Ted DiBiase disparaged Father Larry Hennig, Curt none too pleased about that. And so it is Larry against Ted tonight here with Curt looking on at ringside. And committed to not take sides. He gets that these two men need to settle their differences and settle their differences inside the squared circle. A little off kilter with the camera here tonight. See if we can get that squared away. Kind of put this together in a rush after the Buckeyes' triumphant victory. So here we go. Ted DiBiase and Larry Hennig set for grudge match action here in New Orleans. And the opening initiative role is won by Larry Hennig. And here we go. Larry Hennig comes out with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes DiBiase. And right away, it is Larry Hennig attempting a running clothesline, but crashing into the turnbuckle as DiBiase wisely skated out of the way. DiBiase going for a quick cover and almost got a 3 count that quickly. DiBiase now in control, and DiBiase now with a backbreaker that puts Hennig down onto the canvas. DiBiase immediately in control, a gut wrench suplex and a cover. And on a roll of 11, Larry Hennig kicks out with authority. Hennig not showing much offense here yet tonight as DiBiase quickly has taken control. And now we go out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And on a roll of 7, it is DiBiase with an Irish whip into the ring barricade that sends Larry Hennig sprawling. Right near where Curt Hennig is sitting in a chair at ringside. Hennig has nothing to say to his father or to DiBiase. He is just watching dispassionately as DiBiase now is going to attempt to greet Larry Hennig with a elbow off of the ropes. A backward elbow springing off the ropes, nails Larry Hennig and puts Larry Hennig down on the canvas. DiBiase now goes to the backbreaker. across the knee, and Hennig slowly trying to get to his feet. DiBiase stays on him, and DiBiase now with a big vertical suplex. And Larry Hennig goes down once again. Ted dominating this situation, glancing at Kurt, no words exchanged. But the tension between Ted and Kurt is evident, as it is DiBiase now with a falling fist drop onto Larry Hennig. Hennig now getting to his feet, trying to make something happen, and DiBiase just took him down with a big clothesline. And once again, Hennig out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And on the arena floor again, DiBiase dropping Larry Hennig throat first across the steel security railing. The fans gasping here in attendance. DiBiase in control, and DiBiase now is going to go up for a death jump, and down he comes with a big elbow to the top of the head off the top turnbuckle. Larry Hennig once again down and stunned. And DiBiase follows that up with another hard backbreaker across the knee. DiBiase is just giving Larry Hennig a wrestling clinic right here in New Orleans. Another gut-wrench suplex by DiBiase puts Larry Hennig down. Larry Hennig in trouble here. And now DiBiase with a big power slam puts Hennig down to the canvas once again. DiBiase, very good technical wrestler. And that power slam was a thing of beauty for really just an average-sized guy. Hennig slowly getting to his feet. DiBiase stays on him with another big vertical suplex. Larry Hennig, give him credit. He's taken a beating and keeps coming back for more. And DiBiase has plenty more to dish out with a falling fist drop that hits Larry Hennig right between the eyes. Larry Hennig stunned by that. And DiBiase now with another big power slam. Hennig going to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And this time on the arena floor, it is DiBiase with a big move, with just slamming Larry Hennig into the ring steps. We may see a count out here. We will not, but Larry Hennig now is down and busted open. And Curt Hennig looking very concerned at the well-being of his father, but again, not intervening as DiBiase continues to do his damage on the arena floor. And now it is DiBiase going to the shenanigans chart. Out of the ring again we go. Brought to you by Ted DiBiase. And he is going to attempt to set up a table. DiBiase going for a table on the outside of the ring. The table is set up on the arena floor. And what is going to happen here? It is DiBiase winning the gut check roll, and he power bombs Larry Hennig through the table. And Larry Hennig is down. Is he out? He is knocked out. The referee is going to put the 10 count on him. And Larry Hennig is down and out. And he is unconscious on the floor after going through the table at ringside. So Ted DiBiase winning this match by KO in nearly a flawless fashion. Larry Hennig is out cold. Curt Hennig again shaking his head but not making any effort to intervene in this situation as the paramedics tend to his father, the trainers come and tend to his father, and Larry Hennig is going to have to be helped back out of the ring area after that move. Ted DiBiase is now calling Curt Hennig into the ring. And they're having a discussion. They're not happy, but they're not coming to blows. You know, Curt just saw what Ted DiBiase is capable of, and he recognizes that this is a business. And Ted DiBiase did what he had to do in order to take care of business here tonight in New Orleans. But Ted DiBiase is not finished. Ted DiBiase is gesturing to the backstage area. And I think Ted DiBiase has another surprise in store for the fans here in New Orleans. And ladies and gentlemen, I do not believe it. The fans here in New Orleans do not believe it, but Ted DiBiase has recruited a new ally to come and join his faction in the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. And that man is none other than Barry Windham. What a shocker. Barry Windham has joined forces with Ted DiBiase and Curt Hennig. After all of the drama with the team of Whatever We Want, chaos here in New Orleans, as Barry Windham has jumped ship. He has left Pro Wrestling Mid-America. He has left the faction of Whatever We Want, where he was part of the heart and soul of that faction. And Barry Windham has gone to greener pastures, signing on with Ted DiBiase and Curt Hennig to move on to the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. And for the first time tonight, Curt Hennig is smiling. Ted DiBiase is laughing and rubbing his fingers together and rubbing his hands together. As Barry Windham hits the ring, he shakes hands with Curt Hennig. He shakes hands with Ted DiBiase. The fans here in New Orleans are stunned. Wow, what a development. As Barry Windham joins forces with Ted DiBiase and Curt Hennig, headed east to the Atlantic Wrestling Federation, where DiBiase and Hennig will be delighted to enlist the services of Barry Windham and help Barry Windham on his quest for championship gold. What a shocker here in New Orleans. All right, fans, I am going to take about a 2-minute break to grab a drink. I need something to get my throat through the rest of the show here tonight. Neil Lau keeping us entertained with a rundown of his Velvet card on Sunday, and we will review that here shortly. I'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And thank you to Neil Lau for his report on the Velvet Wrestling Association show for tomorrow. Vern Gagne versus Spirios Arion. Should be a good technical matchup there. Joey Daddiego versus Nikolai Volkov. Stevie Richards versus Guillermo Rosas. Title shot. Robert Fuller versus the Hobo. Definitely a Hollywood Championship Wrestling flavor to that card. Malaya Hosaka versus Jody Threat. That should be a Donnybrook. ODB versus Princess Victoria. Not liking Princess Victoria's chances in that situation. Missy Hyatt versus Lacey Ryan. That's even a bigger mismatch. JVD Studios has joined us. Are there any ways to get the cards and all I need for free so I can do this? JVD, talk to me offline, or we'll get back to you on that. I might be able to set you up with a few things. Ashley Lane versus Samantha Heights, the Battle of Ohio. Ashley Lane out of Columbus, Samantha Heights out of Southwest Ohio. Should be a good show. Two women that I'm very familiar with from my days watching independent wrestling in my home state of Ohio. No title shots in the ladies division. All right, Neil, I hope you will give me a full report on how that happened how that plays out. As we talked earlier today, I'm going to start trying to do something new with my Wednesday night YouTube Heartland highlight reel, and maybe highlight some action from other federations as well. Neil Lau, of course, the #1 fan of the Heartland, a very active promoter with his Velvet Wrestling Federation. And Neil, if you do post those shows to the Filsinger message boards, I don't always keep up with everything that happens on the message boards, but if you do post those, please send me a link via Facebook Messenger, and I'll check that out either on the message boards, or you can message me directly on Facebook Messenger with whatever content you want to add to this week's Heartland highlight reel. I want to see this card. I love what I am reading. So great. JVD, let me get with me. I don't know if you're on Facebook. You can contact me on Facebook Messenger. There is a Facebook group linked from the video description, and if you go to that link, you can find me on Facebook, and I am me for more details. We'll see what we can do to get you hooked up. But ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our first title match of the evening. The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This is a match for the Atlantic Tag Team Championship. Introducing first the challengers, collectively known as the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys. First out of Springfield, Tennessee. He stands at 6'2" and weighs 236 pounds. This is Tracy Smothers. And his partner comes from Hendersonville, Tennessee, standing at 6'3", weighing 238 pounds. This is Wildfire Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich and Tracy Smothers, a wildly popular tag team in the Atlantic territory. And they have one of the most despicable tag team opponents, who are your reigning and defending champions here tonight, under the leadership of this man, Nikita Breznikov. Introducing first out of Osaka, Japan. He stands at 5'10" and weighs 258 pounds. This is Mr. Fuji. And his tag team partner hails from Tokyo, Japan, standing at 5'11", weighing 262 pounds. This is Mr. Saito. So Mr. Saito and Mr. Fuji going at it here tonight in New Orleans as they defend their titles against Tommy Rich and Tracy Smothers, with Nikita Breznikov at ringside. Take a drink here. And we are set for action. And it will be Mr. Fuji and Tommy Wildfire Rich to start things off in this tag team championship match. Mr. Fuji taking the opening initiative role. And it is Fuji with a back rake on Tommy Wildfire Rich. Tommy not happy about that. And just turns right back around and slugs Mr. Fuji. A series of fired up punches delivered to Mr. Fuji, who quickly tags in Mr. Saito. I don't know if Fuji was very smart to get Tommy Rich's temper riled up right here from the get-go. But Saito is going to come into the ring, and maybe cooler heads will prevail as Saito delivers a crescent kick to the chest of Tommy Rich, and Tommy Rich fires right back. Tommy Rich with a full arm drag and twist, taking Mr. Saito under control. Saito unable to make a tag as Tommy Rich now goes for the airplane spin. This is a choice C maneuver, choice C. So he will need a roll of 7 or lower to complete that, and on a roll of 6, he got him up, over, and down to the canvas hard. And Saito slowly getting to his feet. Tommy's going to tag in Tracy Smothers for his first action in this match. Here comes Tracy, and he immediately takes Saito down with a running cross body block. Tracy Smothers getting the crowd fired up here. Another flying shoulder block. And this time Saito stands his ground, and Saito instead catches Tracy Smothers in a front face lock. Tracy not going to let that slow him down. Tracy fires back with a series of looping right hands that stun Mr. Saito and put him on the defensive. Tracy Smothers now in control, whip to the turnbuckle. Saito comes off the turnbuckle, grabs the arm of Tracy Smothers and sends Tracy Smothers into the buckle. But on a roll of 5, it is Tracy Smothers who bounces off the turnbuckle and nails Mr. Saito with a skull-splitting running lariat. Saito goes down hard. Tracy Smothers now in control. as he's got the fans behind him here solidly in New Orleans. He hits another flying shoulder block, again putting Mr. Saito on the canvas. Here comes Tommy Rich. It's going to be a double team attempt by the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, and on a roll of 6, it is an awesome double neck breaker delivered by Tommy and Tracy that puts Saito on the canvas. And now it is Tommy Wildfire Rich in control with a big vertical suplex that puts Saito down to the canvas yet again. And it is a vertical suplex again that puts Saito down. And now we're going to see another double team by the challengers. And this time it is a deadly face-first double suplex. They're going to go for the cover. And Saito able to kick out, but Saito in trouble here after some rapid-fire double teams executed by these Wild-Eyed Southern Boys. The legal man now in the ring is Tracy Smothers, and it is Smothers who is going to go up for a death jump. And on a roll of 7, Tracy Smothers comes off the top turnbuckle with a flying missile dropkick off the top rope, and Saito eats that one and goes back down to the canvas hard. Tracy and Tommy with all the momentum here. Tracy Smothers now is going to stay on the offensive with another running cross body. Saito is down, trying to slowly get to his feet. And Tracy stays on him with a jumping wheel kick. And Saito now is reeling. He caught that one square in the mush, unable to make the tag as Tracy Smothers maintains control. And Tracy now going to go up to the top turnbuckle yet again. And this time it is agility struggle, and again the agility belongs to Tracy Smothers, and he puts Saito down on the canvas. More double teaming coming up for the challengers, a bone-crunching double clothesline, and Tommy Rich now in the ring and in control. Nikita Breznikov looking very concerned at ringside as it is Tommy Rich taking Saito out of the ring and down to the woodshed, and it is Tommy Rich winning that match, winning that battle, and ramming the back of Mr. Saito into the ring apron. Saito taking a pounding here. Tommy Wildfire Rich back in the ring, dumps Saito with a pile driver. He's going to go for the cover, and on a roll of 6, Saito again able to kick out, but he is in trouble here. Another double team coming up for the Southern Boys, and it is a devastating double team as both men hit big, high running drop kicks. Saito eats another point of fatigue, and now Fuji is going to come to the aid of his partner, attempting to get into the ring and interfere, but on a roll of 8, it is the referee putting Fuji out of the ring. That will give Saito a moment to recover and at least get back to his feet. Yes, Tracy Smothers is back in the ring and in control with a right hand to the side of the head. Smothers follows that up with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Mr. Saito, and on a roll of 10, it is Tracy Smothers with a big kick that stuns Mr. Saito. Smothers, another whip to the turnbuckle, and another big kick stuns Saito yet again. Here comes another double team attempt for the Southern Boys, and on a roll of 9, it is a running forearm smash delivered by Tommy Rich that stuns Mr. Saito. Saito in a whole world of hurt here as Tommy Rich moves in with a big drop kick, and Saito finally sidesteps the drop kick. He's got the opportunity to do something here. And he is going to whip Tommy Rich into the turnbuckle. And as Tommy comes off the turnbuckle, Saito nails Tommy with an incredible neck-breaking clothesline. Tommy Rich is now down. Saito with a chance to do some damage. Saito is going to go for the sleeper hold, and Tommy Rich is going to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor. The battle goes out to the arena floor, where Mr. Saito takes control and Irish whips Tommy Rich into the steel barricade. And now Mr. Saito is going to press the attack, but we will not see a disqualification here as the referee lets him fight. And Rich rolls back into the ring, Saito tagging Mr. Fuji into the ring finally. Fuji now in the ring, the fresh man, as Saito survived an incredible length of time in the ring, multiple double teams, but now Fuji is in the ring and in control with a big headbutt to Tommy Rich. Rich slowly trying to get to his feet. Fuji is on him with another falling headbutt. Tommy Rich is still down. Fuji stays on him with a double thrust to the throat. Those nasty martial arts blows being delivered by Mr. Fuji, doing their damage on Tommy Wildfire Rich. And now Tommy with eats another falling headbutt from Mr. Fuji. He is trying to get to his feet. Fuji stays on him now with a kamikaze clothesline. Fuji has had a couple of opportunities to tag here, but he is going to let his partner rest up. And now Fuji with the Fuji nerve grip. That's going to slow things down even further. As Tommy Rich is on one knee, Fuji digging his expertly trained fingers into the brachial plexus of Tommy Rich, causing all kinds of agony. Now Mr. Saito wants to get back into the ring. We're going to see a double team attempt by the champions. And on a roll of 5, it is a bone-crunching double clothesline delivered by Fuji and Saito. Tommy Rich now is down, and Saito with a chance to do some more damage here. It is a thrust kick to the throat. Tommy Rich rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor, and here we go again. And this time it is Tommy Wildfire Rich winning the brawl on the arena floor and just hurling Saito into the crowd. Tommy Rich coming back into the ring, throws Saito back into the ring. He doesn't want a count out to happen. Here's a Thez press and a cover. The pin roll here is 6. Nikita Presnikov going to attempt the distraction, and the distraction is indeed successful. But the champions have run out of pin saves now. Tommy Wildfire Rich still in control as he is going to go up for a death jump. Death jump attempt coming up here, and he nails Mr. Saito. Double team coming up for the Southern Boys. Here comes Tracy Smothers into the ring. A bone-crunching double clothesline delivered by the challengers. Saito is down and out of it once again. Tracy Smothers now going to go up for a death jump. And it is a perfect flying cross body block off the top rope. Tracy Smothers goes for the cover. The pin roll here is 7, and on a roll of snake eyes, he got him. Ladies and gentlemen, an incredible match for Tommy Rich and Tracy Smothers, the wild-eyed Southern Boys, as Tracy Smothers pins Mr. Saito cleanly in the center of the ring after a perfect cross body block off of the top turnbuckle. We have new champions crowned here in New Orleans. Congratulations to the team of Tracy Smothers and Tommy Rich, the wild-eyed Southern Boys, as they have captured the Atlantic Tag Team Championship here in New Orleans. All right, and with that, now we need to take a few minutes to get things set up for our next match, and also to welcome the newcomers and catch up with what is happening in the chat. JVD Studios, yeah, we talked about that. Kathy Evans joining us. And next up, fans, is our Battle Royal. A 12-man Battle Royal for the vacant Lone Star Heavyweight Championship. And you all know how this works. It's every man for themselves. A 12-man Battle Royal. And we are going to use the squared circle Battle Royal moves for this, and it's very clever, although it is a little bit of a challenge to put this on the air, but we'll do our best because what we're here to do is have fun, and we're going to have fun with this Battle Royal, and we are going to introduce the participants. 12 men from the Pro Wrestling Mid-America have come to do battle for the opportunity to take home the Lone Star Heavyweight Championship. Actually, I don't think we're going to be able to do squared circle rules, so we'll just do standard Battle Royal rules. Let's introduce the 12 competitors from including 2 surprise entrants into this Battle Royal. And let's see who we've got. We have got MJF. We have got the Junkyard Dog. We have got the Magnificent One, Don Morocco. Nikita Koloff. Bret the Hitman Hart. Jim Lawrence joining us here. ID Jester joining us here. Eddie Graham joining us in the Battle Royal. The popular one, Sergeant Slaughter. The hated one, JBL. The Iron Sheik. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Diamond Dallas Page. And your surprise entries, Rene Goulet and Leo Nomalini. These two have been feuding with each other for the longest time. And they are both entered into the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Battle Royal for the vacant Lone Star Heavyweight Championship. So we'll do this. We'll do this quickly. We'll draw two guys, and whoever gets the initiative will go on. After a gut check roll, we'll go on to level 3 offense, and we'll just see what happens. Our first two are going to be the Junkyard Dog and Don Morocco battling it out. And let's see, the advantage will go to the Junkyard Dog with the advantage. And we'll use the championship dice for this, and it is the Junkyard Dog right away going for the big thump. That is a +2 finisher. He got Morocco up, down, and down to the canvas hard. He is going to need a roll of 8 or lower to stay in the Battle Royal. And on a roll of 7, Morocco is able to stay in the Battle Royal. Next up, it is Rene Goulet and Paul Orndorff. I'm just making this up as I go along. And it is Paul Orndorff winning the initiative roll. And he is going to try a death jump on Rene Goulet. And on a roll of 3, it's Orndorff getting knocked off of the top turnbuckle. He may be eliminated here. His roll will be 7 or lower. And on a roll of 10, Orndorff is out of the Battle Royal. Paul Orndorff, your first elimination here, as Rene Goulet caught Paul Orndorff going up top and just pushed him off the top turnbuckle and down to the arena floor for the elimination. Iron Sheik now facing off against the Hitman Bret Hart. And it is going to be Bret the Hitman Hart taking the initiative here. And he is going to go and try to pitch the Iron Sheik out of the ring. This is going to take a roll of 8 or lower to keep the Sheik in the ring. And on a roll of 9, he's out. So Iron Sheik quickly eliminated by the Hitman Bret Hart. The Battle Royal progresses. John Bradshaw Layfield is next up, and he is going to come after Leo Nomalini. Two fellow members of the Thagos Trez Hall of Fame set number 6. It is Leo Nomalini who wins the initiative roll, and it is Leo Nomalini who's going to try a flying tackle to take Layfield out of the ring. The saving roll here, 7 or lower, and on a roll of 6, Layfield is able to stay in the ring after the flying tackle. Nikita Koloff up next against MJF. No love lost between these two men, as it is MJF with a spectacular win on the initiative roll, and he is going to do a death jump roll, and on the death jump he hits Nikita Koloff, and he nails Nikita Koloff. Nikita, after that horrible initiative roll, is going to need to roll 7 or lower to stay in this match, and on a roll of 8, Nikita Koloff has been eliminated. Again, I'm just making up rules as I go along. Hopefully you'll all be able to keep up. And I seem to be short by a guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I have an extra guy. Oh, Orndorff wasn't supposed to be in this match, so Orndorff snuck into the Battle Royal, got eliminated. He's going to be coming out in our next match. So coming up next, it is going to be Eddie Graham facing off against Sergeant Slaughter. The very popular Sergeant Slaughter, and it is Eddie Graham winning the initiative role here. What's Eddie Graham going to do? He is going to try for a leg split on the corner ropes. Sergeant Slaughter with the reversal, and Slaughter comes back with a big kick with a military boot. Eddie Graham fires right back with the hardest punches in wrestling. It says so right here on the card. The hardest punches in wrestling, but Sergeant Slaughter fires right back with a gutbuster that puts Eddie Graham down. He is hurting. Slaughter now going for a drop kick. And again, Eddie Graham is hurt. Slaughter now with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Eddie Graham. And on a roll of 3, it is Eddie Graham who nails Sergeant Slaughter with a boot to the side of the head coming off the ropes. Eddie's going to go for the elimination here. Sergeant Slaughter just needs a roll of 9 or lower to stay in the match, and he is able to fend off the elimination. The Battle Royal continues. Diamond Dallas Page is up next. So what I'm doing is 9 is kind of the default, and as we go along, this round we'll make 8 the default, and we'll kind of add and subtract from that essentially saving throw based upon the moves that took place and how much difference there was in the gut check roll, and we'll just play this as we go along. As Diamond Dallas Page is now locked up with the Junkyard Dog, believe it or not, and it is the Junkyard Dog taking the initiative here, and he is going to try a falling headbutt on Diamond Dallas Page, but Diamond Dallas Page ducks out of the way of the falling headbutt, and Junkyard Dog hits the canvas hard. Page now with a big suplex. Junkyard Dog right back up to his feet. And it is Junkyard Dog dancing and barking. And these two men just sharing a good laugh. And the Battle Royal continues on as Diamond Dallas Page and JYD go to a standoff. Rene Goulet now facing off against Don Morocco. What's going to happen here? It is Morocco gaining control. And it is Morocco with a swinging neck breaker that dumps Rene Goulet onto the back of his head. Morocco maintains control. Morocco now with a big suplex that takes Goulet down to the canvas. He's trying to escape from the clutches of Don Morocco. Morocco stays on him. The Hawaiian Hammer, that's a finisher. Rene Goulet is going to need 6 or lower to stay in the match here. And Rene Goulet has been eliminated by Don Morocco, courtesy of the Hawaiian Hammer. Big elimination there for the Magnificent One. Bret the Hitman Hart squaring off next against Eddie Graham. And they are coming together in the center of the ring, and it's going to be Bret the Hitman Hart in control. And he goes for a big superplex on Eddie Graham. Graham's going to have to roll 8 or lower to stay in the match here, and on a roll of 8, Graham is able to survive. Leo Nomalini and MJF next in line. And it is going to be Nomalini taking the advantage. Nomalini comes at his man and just tries to throw Maxwell Jacob Freeman over the top rope and out of the ring. He's going to need 8 or lower to stay put, and he is able to survive. Sergeant Slaughter and John Layfield now next up for the battle here, and it is going to be Layfield winning the initiative roll, and Layfield is going to go up and attempt a death jump here. But on a roll of 5, Slaughter caught him and threw Layfield down to the mat. Layfield is going to need a roll of 8 or lower to stay in this match. And on a roll of 11, John Layfield has been eliminated by Sergeant Slaughter. All right, so we are now down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 men in this Battle Royal. As the Battle Royal continues, Dwayne March joining us here. And next up, it will be in the final 8, Bret the Hitman Hart coming face to face with Diamond Dallas Page. A little bit of tension in the history between these two men. We'll see how they do, and it is going to be Diamond Dallas Page taking the advantage. And Diamond Dallas Page immediately hits Bret the Hitman Hart with a diamond cutter. He's going to need a saving roll here of 7 or lower to stay in this match. And on a roll of 5, somehow Bret the Hitman Hart survives. Sergeant Slaughter, Don Morocco next up in this battle royal, squaring off, and it is Sergeant Slaughter on the offensive. Sergeant Slaughter is going to try and pitch Morocco out of the ring. 8 or lower is the saving roll, and on a roll of 7, Morocco is able to survive. Junkyard Dog, Leo Nomalini next up. And it is Nomalini on the offensive. He's going to go for a flying tackle, and he nails the flying tackle. It's going to take Junkyard Dog 7 or lower. And on a roll of 8, Junkyard Dog eliminated by Leo Nomalini, courtesy of the flying tackle. MJF, Eddie Graham now doing some smack talking in the center of the ring. They're going to go at it, and MJF takes the advantage. And MJF is going to try and pitch Eddie Graham out of the ring. He is going to need a roll of 9 or lower to stay in this match. And on a roll of 5, Eddie Graham survives, and the battle royal continues. Junkyard Dog, John Layfield eliminated in that go-round. Bret Hart again finding himself at the center of the attention, and Diamond Dallas Page once again. They square off again in the center of the ring. And again, it is Bret Hart taking advantage, and Bret Hart with a stomp to the midsection. Bret Hart follows that up with a hair pull and a punch. Diamond Dallas Page on the reversal with a swinging neck breaker that dumps Bret Hart down to the canvas. Diamond Dallas Page now with a discus clothesline that stuns Bret Hart. Hart getting to his feet, another discus clothesline. And Bret Hart is in trouble here. He's going to need 8 or lower to stay in this match. And on a roll of 8, Hart survives. Sergeant Slaughter, Eddie Graham up next. And again, this time it is Eddie Graham taking the advantage. And Eddie Graham going to try and throw Sergeant Slaughter out of the ring. The roll here is 9 or lower, and on a roll of 9, Sergeant Slaughter barely survives that attempt. Leo Nomalini, MJF, coming face to face yet again. And now it is Nomalini in control, and Nomalini attempting to throw MJF out of the ring. MJF is going to need 8 or lower to stay in this match, and on a roll of 4, MJF survives. They're starting to get tired. So we're going to drop the saving roll now to 7. 7 or lower it's going to take to stay in this match as the fatigue for both men progresses. Bret the Hitman Hart once again finding himself at the center, this time against Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Bret Hart, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman in control. Maxwell Jacob Freeman goes for a arm code breaker, and Bret Hart survives that. MJF now with a half and half suplex. Hart getting right to his feet as Jacob just spits on him. Wow, MJF just spit on Bret Hart. Hart not very happy about that. And it is MJF attempting a suplex. Hart blocks that, and Hart comes back instead with a hair pull and a punch to the side of the head. MJF fires right back with a running knee strike, and these two men are just going to duke it out in the center of the ring. Eddie Graham, Diamond Dallas Page next up. And it is Diamond Dallas Page in control. Diamond Dallas Page with a face-first pile driver, and Eddie Graham is down. Diamond Dallas Page now going for a neck snap on the top rope. Eddie Graham blocks that. Eddie Graham fires back instead with a whip to the ropes, and as Page comes off the ropes, Diamond Dallas Page is backdropped high into the air by Eddie Graham and down to the canvas. Graham now and Page are battling to a stalemate. Sergeant Slaughter, Leo Nomalini squaring off. And the opening initiative roll goes to Slaughter. And it is Slaughter going to try and pitch Leo Nomalini out of the ring. He is going to need 7 or lower to stay put. And on a roll of 4, Nomalini survives. The magnificent Morocco now in the center of the ring, facing off against Eddie Graham. As this battle royal continues with Don Morocco now in control. Morocco hits the Hawaiian Hammer. That's a big move on Eddie Graham. Eddie's going to need 5 or lower to remain in this match, and the Hawaiian Hammer has claimed another victim. 2 eliminations now for Morocco as Eddie Graham goes flying over the top rope. MJF, Bret Hart renewing their hostilities after MJF spit on Bret Hart. And it is Bret Hart this time in control, and Bret Hart now has got MJF in the sharpshooter. This is going to be lights out for MJF. You don't survive this sharpshooter, he's going to need 4 or lower to survive that, and MJF has been eliminated. Hart didn't like being spit on, so he wrapped up MJF into the sharpshooter. MJF pretty much tapped out and was spent, and Hart just pitched him over the top rope and down to the arena floor. Now it is going to be Sergeant Slaughter and Diamond Dallas Page, the 2 most popular men in pro wrestling mid-America. And it is going to be DDP taking the initiative here. And DDP hits the Diamond Dream. Sergeant Slaughter surviving that. DDP with a gut wrench takes Slaughter over and down to the canvas. A Russian leg sweep again puts Slaughter on the mat. DDP now goes for the swinging neck breaker. Sergeant Slaughter is down again, but struggling back to his feet as these men battle to a stalemate. We are down to 5 men in this match. Leo Namalini is up next, and he is going to have to contend with magnificent Morocco. Morocco, Namalini, squaring off with Namalini taking control, and Namalini going to try and pitch Morocco out of the ring. 7 or lower is the saving roll, and on a roll of 7, Morocco is able to maintain his balance and stay in the ring. Bret Hart, Sergeant Slaughter now squaring off. Hart, after eliminating MJF, sets his eyes on Sergeant Slaughter, and he is going to hit a superplex on Sergeant Slaughter. This could be it for Sarge. 6 or lower, the saving roll here, but on a roll of 4, Sergeant Slaughter able to survive and continue on in this match, as Diamond Dallas Page now squares off against Leo Namalini. Page and Namalini going at it. Page with a big advantage on the initiative roll. Goes for a neck snap on the top rope. He is going to need a roll of 7 or lower to hit that. Namalini blocks that move. Namalini comes back with a whip to the ropes and drops down, and these 2 men battle to a stalemate. Now it is Bret Hart and Sergeant Slaughter squaring off yet again, with Sergeant Slaughter this time taking control, and Sergeant Slaughter attempting to dump Bret Hart out of the ring on a roll of 8 or lower, and Bret Hart again able to survive, as Don Morocco is in the center of the ring now, and he is going to deal with Diamond Dallas Page. Morocco, Page getting it on in the center of the ring, with Morocco taking the advantage. And Morocco again, the Hawaiian Hammer. The saving roll here 6 or lower. And on a roll of 5, Diamond Dallas Page says bye-bye. Don Morocco now has put 3 men out of this battle royal, all with the Hawaiian Hammer. And next up, it will be Bret Hart and Sergeant Slaughter again. These 2 men going at it, with Sergeant Slaughter taking control big time. Slaughter got him in the Cobra Clutch, and that's going to be it for Bret Hart. He's going to need 4 or lower. And Bret Hart somehow survives. Bret Hart somehow survived after the Cobra Clutch. I don't believe what I just saw. Leo Namalini now next in the center of the ring, as he's now going to try and put the finishing touches on Bret Hart. Hart still in a daze. Namalini is on him. Namalini with a stomp. Bret Hart tried to get to his feet. A big body slam by Leo Namalini, followed up by the flying tackle. Bret Hart needs 6 or lower to survive that, and he is out. A flying tackle by Leo Namalini sends Bret Hart over the top rope. Sergeant Slaughter, Don Morocco squaring off in the center of the ring. Morocco on the offensive. Can he put another one away? He's actually going to go up for a death jump, and he nails the death jump. He comes off the top rope with a double axe handle onto Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter is going to need 5 or lower to stay in this match, and he is out. And we are down to the final 2. Don Morocco, Leo Namalini, the Lone Star Heavyweight Championship on the line here. And it is going to be Namalini. Actually, no, Don Morocco with the advantage here. As they come together, it is Morocco again going to go up to the top turnbuckle, and he nails Leo Namalini with a big move off the top turnbuckle. And now the Asiatic spike delivered by Morocco. That's got to hurt. He's going to try and put Namalini out here, the saving roll 5 or lower. And on a roll of 11, Namalini is out after the Asiatic spike. Your winner and new Lone Star Heavyweight Champion is this man, the magnificent Don Morocco. So there you have it. Don Morocco, your new Lone Star Heavyweight Champion. He did the bulk of the work in that match, eliminating, I think, 4 or 5 of the competitors with the Hawaiian Hammer, and at the end, finishing off Leo Namalini with the Asiatic Spike to put Namalini out of the ring. A new champion crowned here in New Orleans. Congratulations to Don Morocco. Wow! I'm out of breath after all that. All right. We are down to our final 3 matches of the night. Championship matches, each and every one of them. And it's already almost 11 o'clock my time, so if you're out east, it's almost Sunday. So thank you for hanging out with me here tonight. As I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, I really wanted to see the Buckeye game. That wound up a little after 9. Very interesting game for the Buckeyes. They faced the Ohio University Bobcats from Athens, Ohio, which is in southeast Ohio, probably, I would say, 90 minutes or so outside of Columbus. Beautiful, beautiful scenic campus there in the hills of southeast Ohio, not far away from West Virginia. And the first half for the Buckeyes was a bit of a struggle as they moved the ball well, but had trouble converting from the red zone, and came away with only a very slim lead. I believe it was 13-3 at halftime. Julian Sand, the Ohio State quarterback, very accurate thrower, but still very young, only in his 3rd start, was having some miss some opportunities. When you're that young and you're barely 19 years old trying to play quarterback in front of 100,000 people, it's a learning process, and not all of his decision making was sound, but certainly the physical tools are there. But in the second half, Ohio State just opened up a can of whoop ass and was able to put the game away and win it going away in the second half. So my beloved Buckeyes finished off the neighboring Ohio Bobcats. Good football team out there in Ohio. The best in the Mid-American Conference is are the Bobcats, but no match for my Buckeyes tonight in the Horseshoe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This match is for the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first the challenger. Out of Tampa, Florida. He stands at 6 foot tall. He weighs 258 pounds. This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And his opponent hails from King's Lynn, England. He is your reigning and defending Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. Standing at 6 foot 4, weighing 242 pounds. This is the national treasure, Nick Aldis. So Orndorff versus Aldis. Yeah, Jim Lawrence, the Bobcats beat my Mountaineers last week. We made up for it by coming from 10 points behind to beat Pitt this week. So yeah, good for y'all, and good for the Ohio Bobcats. The way that works for Ohio State is there's about 7 Division I football teams in Ohio, and the Buckeyes play each of them on a rotating basis in Ohio Stadium each year for the purposes of giving the other Ohio schools, a chance to come play in the Horseshoe, and also keeping that TV money within the state of Ohio. So this year it was the Ohio Bobcats' turn to come to town, and they played a very good first half against the Buckeyes, but the talent differential was just too great, and the Buckeyes do what the Buckeyes do. All right, we are ready for Orndorff and Aldis squaring off for the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship, with Paul Orndorff taking the opening initiative role. And Orndorff comes right out and is going to attempt a power slam. This is a choice D maneuver, choice D. And so for a choice D maneuver, he will need to hit a roll of 8 or lower to complete that. And on a roll of 8, Orndorff with the big power slam puts Aldis right on his back right away. He's immediately going to go for the cover. The pin roll is snake eyes, and Orndorff almost got him. Wow. Opening power slam off of the opening lockup, and Orndorff has taken control very quickly. And now Orndorff with a short arm clothesline that puts Aldis back down onto the mat. Those massive arms of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And now Orndorff goes for the jumping pile driver. This is a +2 finisher. The pin roll here, 5 or lower. And on a roll of 3, he got him. And just like that, we have got a new Atlantic heavyweight champion. Nick Aldis tastes the jumping pile driver from Paul Orndorff. Orndorff grabs the belt. He is your new Atlantic heavyweight champion. Congratulations to him. Another new champion crowned here. We've had 3 title matches and 3 new champions crowned here in New Orleans as Paul Orndorff snatches the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship before people could even get back into their seats after the very exciting Battle Royal. Wow. That was nothing to that. And now we have 2 World Championship matches coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This is a match for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Introducing first the challengers. Representing the stable known as Whatever We Want, led to the ring by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. First, out of the great state of Minnesota, standing at 6'1", weighing 256 pounds, this is Ole Anderson. And his tag team partner hails from Borger, Texas. Standing at 6'3", weighing 322 pounds, this is Stan the Lariat Hansen. So Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson being led to the ring by the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. And again, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, there has been all kinds of drama in the stable of Whatever We Want. Already we have seen Barry Windham defect and leave the stable to sign on with Ted DiBiase. He is taking his bags and going east to work with DiBiase and Curt Hennig over in the Atlantic Wrestling Federation. And now we have a challenge match for the Whatever We Want, challenging for the World Tag Team Championships. We saw these 2 teams square off last month in Pittsburgh. And it was in Pittsburgh where these 2 teams battled to a double countout, but after the match, a wild brawl took place, and Stan Hansen was injured in that brawl. He is still suffering from a neck injury. He is not wrestling at 100%, but this is a world title match, and the team that qualified for the title match was Ole Anderson and Stan Hansen, and they could either wrestle as a team or not wrestle. And so given the opportunity to wrestle for the world titles, it is going to be Ole and Hansen going at it in spite of Hansen's weakened condition. And their opponents are your reigning and defending NWA World Tag Team Champions, led to the ring by this man, James E. Cornette, collectively known as the Midnight Express, from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, standing at 6'1", weighing 225 pounds. This is Sweet Stan Lane, and his tag team partner hails from Huntsville, Alabama, standing at 6 foot tall, weighing 233 pounds. This is beautiful Bobby Eaton. So Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane defending the NWA World Tag Team Championship here tonight against the challengers from Texas, Whatever We Want, Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson. And it is going to be Ole Anderson opening up for his team against Sweet Stan Lane, the man with the educated feet. And as they come together in the ring, it is Ole Anderson quickly with a punch to the gut of Stan Lane, stunning Stan. Ole comes at him again with another punch to the gut. And Stan Lane quickly takes two stiff shots to the gut and tags in his partner, Beautiful Bobby. And it is Beautiful Bobby who catches a headlock on Ole Anderson and drives a short right hand into the chin of Ole Anderson. And that stunned Ole. Bobby Eaton, soft-spoken, unassuming guy, one of the hardest hitters in the sport, as Ole Anderson is stunned by that. And now Bobby Eaton takes him down with a divorce court and goes to work on the shoulder of Ole Anderson. Eaton gets in another stinging right hand as Ole Anderson staggers to his feet. And Anderson is stunned once again. Eaton stays on him. And now Lane is in the ring with a double goozle, and that's an add one move, as Eaton and Lane double team Anderson and take him down to the canvas. Stan Lane, now your legal man, in the ring and in control, as he goes to work with those educated feet, lefts and rights. Lane with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Ole Anderson, and he reverses that, sending Lane into the turnbuckle. And as Lane comes off the turnbuckle, he is annihilated by Ole Anderson with an incredible neck-breaking clothesline. Ole Anderson got all of that one. And Ole Anderson is now in control, and he is going to choke Lane down on the ropes. Lane, the count being put on him, Ole is going to tag in Stan Hansen to the match for the first time. Hansen comes in looking to do damage on Lane with a headbutt, but Lane was able to dodge out of the way of that one. Hansen a step slow because of that injury, and Lane instead comes back with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Stan Hansen, and on a roll of 7, it is a big kick, a spinning kick by Stan Lane that catches Hansen in the midsection. Lane stays in control with a flurry of karate kicks, and Hansen quickly out of the ring and down to the arena floor. What's he going to do out there? He is going to go right to the foreign object. Yeah, that is a foreign object roll for Stan Hansen, as he goes right to in Hansen's case, we'll say he goes to his cowbell. Hansen is desperate. Lane was the one who injured Hansen, and so Hansen is going to go to the cowbell. He may be disqualified for this. And on a roll of 7, the referee's going to let him fight as Hansen slugs Lane with that cowbell. They roll back into the center of the ring, and Hansen is going to pitch Lane out of the ring and down to the arena floor again. And this time it is Lane again, taking a pummeling on the arena floor. Let's see, ring B. No, that's a clean win for Stan Lane, as Lane is able to hit Stan Hansen coming in with a diving clothesline off the ring apron, and Hansen is down. Lane now in control, and he is going to go for a Russian leg sweep and a cover. The pin roll here is the 3, and on a roll of 5, Hansen able to kick out. But Lane taking advantage of of Stan Hansen wrestling a step slow, and now Lane is going to go up for a death jump. Good move on the behalf of Stan Lane, as he hits a flying missile dropkick off of the top rope. Now Eaton is going to hit the ring, and we're going to see some double team action by the Midnights. And on a roll of 6, it is a bone-crunching double clothesline delivered to Hansen, already nursing that injured neck. Eaton now in control, and Eaton now is going to pitch Hansen out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And on the arena floor, Eaton is going to win that brawl and drop Stan Hansen stomach first across the steel security railing. Bobby Eaton in control here. And now they've got him set up for the finish. They're going to go for the Veg-O-Matic. This is a +3 finisher. So the pin roll here is going to be 6 or lower. And that means it's time for Jimmy Hart to stick his nose in where nobody wants it. And on a roll of 7, Hart jumps on the ring apron and distracts the referee while the megaphone falls into the ring. Hart's wrestler and the opponent dive for the megaphone. Roll 1 die, and on a roll of 5, it is the opponent. It is Bobby Eaton who gets his hands on the megaphone and smashes it across Stan Hansen. So Hansen takes the megaphone shot. Bobby Eaton is now back in control, and he goes for the Alabama Jam, and Stan Hansen is hurt. Here comes Stan Lane into the ring for a double team. And on a roll of 4. That is another double goozle executed by the Midnights and another point of fatigue issued to Stan Hansen. Hansen is in trouble here. Cornette celebrating perhaps prematurely, but now it is the flapjack. Or no, excuse me, it is going to be the rocket launcher. This is a +2 finisher. Pinroll now 7. Ole's going to try and make the save, and on a roll of 6, Ole barely makes the save. But now the challengers are out of pin save attempts, and it is Bobby Eaton, the legal man in the ring after the rocket launcher, and Eaton is going to go for a top rope elbow. Stan Hansen takes a glancing blow. Eaton gets him to his feet, and Eaton now with a vertical suplex. Hansen desperately able to finally make the tag. Stan Hansen was worn out by the Midnights before making a desperation tag to Ole Anderson, who moves out against Bobby Eaton with a snapmare. Eaton getting to his feet quickly. Ole stays on him. An arm wringer attempted by Ole Anderson, reversed by Bobby Eaton. And it is Eaton now with another divorce cord onto the shoulder of Ole Anderson. He's going to try an armbar submission here, and on a roll of 3, he got him. Bobby Eaton with the divorce cord into an armbar submission. Hansen was unable to come to his aid, and Ole Anderson is forced to tap out, and the Midnight Express have once again successfully retained the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The injury to Stan Hansen proved costly, as he was largely ineffective in this match. Ole Anderson did his best to keep the match going. But he took a couple of big moves to that left shoulder, followed by an armbar delivered by Bobby Eaton for the submission. Jimmy Hart despondent. It has been a horrible night for Jimmy Hart. His tag team lost in the opening contest. Barry Windham has jumped ship, and now Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson have lost their attempts to gain the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Congratulations to the Midnights for a big victory here tonight in New Orleans. All right, and sure enough, it has reached midnight on the East Coast. Thank you for those of you who are hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you to those watching on the broadcast replay, as the time has now come for your main event of the evening. The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This match is for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first the challenger, a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion out of San Francisco, California. He stands at 6'1". He weighs 243 pounds. This is Pat Patterson. And his opponent is your reigning and defending World Heavyweight Champion out of Marieville, Quebec, Canada. And now your play-by-play guy has the hiccups. This night keeps getting better and better. Standing at 5'11", weighing 255 pounds. He is wrestling's worst nightmare. This is Kevin Steen. If there could be a nightmare worse than your play-by-play guy getting the hiccups just in time for the main event, it would be Kevin Steen. These two men, this is their 4th confrontation with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at stake. For those of you who want to revisit the history, Pat Patterson was your long reigning NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He took on Kevin Steen for that title. Patterson cheated up one side and down the other. And in response to all of that, Steen took a cheap shot at Pat Patterson and surprisingly was disqualified for really just one violation of the rules after Patterson had been taking liberties with the rules all night. Kevin Steen was furious. Observers at ringside were very unhappy. Steen appealed to the Heartland Championship Committee, and he was granted a rematch with a non-title rematch with the stipulation that if Steen could defeat Patterson in a non-title match, he would get the title match. He won that match, and then last month in Pittsburgh, Steen defeated Patterson to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Tonight is the rematch, the fourth confrontation between these two men. There is no love lost. Kevin Steen, Pat Patterson, and it is Pat Patterson taking the offensive and coming out with an attempt at a running shoulder block. Kevin Steen is not impressed. Steen has a weight advantage, and certainly that low center of gravity, a running shoulder block ain't going to do nothing. And instead, Steen just grabs Patterson and bites him right on the face. A bite to the face, a Greco-Roman bite to the face, executed by Kevin Steen, immediately puts Pat Patterson on the defensive, and now it's a whip to the turnbuckle. Patterson comes off the turnbuckle and eats a big kick from Kevin Steen. Steen taking no prisoners here, a leg drop onto Pat Patterson. Patterson still hurt. Steen stays on him. Another whip to the turnbuckle. And another big kick delivered by Kevin Steen. Jay Randis just here in time for the main event. Kevin Steen taking the measure of Pat Patterson. Steen with a lock up in the center of the ring, and Steen with a enziguri misses. And Pat Patterson takes control now. Patterson with the agility advantage in this match, and now he's got Steen rolled over into a Boston Crab. He won't be able to force the submission quite yet, but that is going to cost Steen a point of fatigue, and Patterson now in control. And Patterson fixing to go up for a death jump. And on a roll of 9, Patterson with a flying double axe handle off the top turnbuckle nails Kevin Steen, puts him back down. And Patterson now going to go up for a second death jump. And again, he hits a flying clothesline off of the top turnbuckle, and Steen once again is down. Patterson now going for the bombs away. That flying knee drop. This is a +2 finisher. The pin roll here 4 or lower. And on a roll of 5, Steen barely got his leg over the bottom rope. Steen in trouble here. He had the momentum early. Pat Patterson, the crafty veteran, turning the tables. And now the bomb's away. Here it comes again. The pin roll now 5 or lower, and on a roll of 16 again, just barely kicks out. Pat Patterson using his agility and athletic ability to his advantage, surprising Kevin Steen with an attack, a series of attacks off the top rope. And now the figure 4 leg lock is in place. And that is an add 1 maneuver, and Steen is still down. Steen injured here. He's in a bad way, as Patterson now is going to go up for another death jump. Pat Patterson tries to get to the top turnbuckle, and he nails Steen again with another flying double axe handle off the top rope. Steen is down. Patterson, tweener there. Patterson now instead is going to take things out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Maybe not Pat Patterson's best idea, but he executes a major big move on Kevin Steen, as he has hit Steen with a sledgehammer. That may lead to a count out on a roll of 5 or lower, but on a roll of 7, Patterson able to grab Steen and throw him back into the ring. Steen busted open. Patterson now trying to finish him off. Another figure 4 leg lock has been, no, he's going to a foreign object. He's got the sledgehammer again. He's going to try to finish him off here on a roll of 6 or lower. And on a roll of 7, Steen is able to kick out again. His running lights have been dimmed. Steen is on Goofy Street. And Pat Patterson trying to finish him off here after 2 shots with the sledgehammer. He's going to go up for the bombs away knee drop. The pin roll here 9 or lower, and that is it. Pat Patterson just dominated Kevin Steen and has reclaimed the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Congratulations to Pat Patterson. He lit Steen up with a series of moves off the top turnbuckle, hit him with a sledgehammer twice, and finished him off with a bombs away knee drop. And just like that, Pat Patterson has reclaimed what he lost 1 month ago in Houston, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Wow, what a stunning main event. We had actually 6 title matches tonight. 5 title matches, 4 new champions crowned. Only the Midnight Express escaped with their titles intact. Congratulations to them, to Pat Patterson, to Paul Orndorff, to Tommy Rich and Tracy Smothers, your new Atlantic Tag Team Champions, and your new Lone Star Heavyweight Champion, the Magnificent One, Don Morocco. All right, it is after midnight on the East Coast. Thank you for hanging out with me here tonight. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Heartland Championship Wrestling, our hype show. Heartland Havoc 131 Last Ride is now complete. Jay Randis, Jim Lawrence, Neil Lau, JVD Studios, Derek Bauman, Kathy Evans was here, ID Jester, Dwayne Martz. And I believe that is everybody. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. From the Dave Cave, this is Dave Little signing off. That's our stream, and I